Hi, our guest tonight is Jim Murano, head coach of Westerly High School football, and also the tri-captains Dino Trombino, Bill Keegan, and Paul Ponte. Jim, welcome aboard. Fellas, welcome to the show. I'm sure a lot of our audience is interested in finding out a little bit about you guys and a lot about your program at the high school, Jim. So far, a successful season, 3-3. I know coming off last year's season, a lot of people would say you're not doing as well, but obviously you can't follow up with an undefeated season every year.
True.
Your record so far is 3-3 overall and 3-2 in the league. And you also, I'd like you to talk to you a little bit about this program of why they would move you up a division. Why do they do that in the league?
Well, according to the interscholastic league rules, every 2 years you have realignment in all sports. The football power rating is based on enrollment, number of people involved in your program, your past success over the last 2 years, and also your point differential, how many points scored versus how many points you've given up. And these are all fed into a computer, and at the end you come out with a ranking. And depending on where you fall in this ranking, that determines what league you're in. I believe, were 12th overall in the state last year. You receive, according to the formula, you receive more points for winning in Class A than you do in Class B, and the same thing for more for B than you would in C. And we finished 12th overall, which was the highest rating in our division B2 last year. So that dictated us moving up to B1.
So it's more or less, a lot of people would say you're rewarded for doing well by being put into tougher competition.
That's exactly what happens.
Now, this would not have taken place had it not been at the 2-year interval. You still would have waited a year. You could have stayed in your same division.
Well, if we were in the, for instance, this year, no matter what happens this year, we're going to be in the same division next year. And all the other teams the same way. No one moves for 2 years. Everyone stays in the same division for 2 years. And then after the 2 years period is up, that's when you make the changes.
So now, do you get a vote in this, or is there a special committee that does this?
Well, originally I was on the committee 4 years ago that came up with this procedure and process for ranking the teams, because before I went strictly on enrollment, and you had some, it was an unfair thing because some schools with larger enrollments really didn't have a good football tradition. They weren't doing as well as teams with small enrollments but good programs. And what happened was you get teams that were getting beat 40-0 every Saturday. So what we tried to do is add some other factors besides enrollment, so that even if you were placed in a division with schools that have larger enrollments than you, the other factors that went into the ranking would somewhat make it more equal, and hopefully, even though you might not have as good a team as you would if you were playing against lesser competition, you'd still be able to compete, and hopefully the scores would be that much closer. So what we did again was come up with this formula 4 years ago, and we were placed in B2 that first year. And after the first 2 years, we did win our division both years. So we were the obvious choice to move up. As a result, we're in B1 now.
Well, you mentioned a little thing in your explanation there, and I'd like to have you fellas join in on this too. You mentioned the difference between schools that have an enrollment or a good program, the difference between maybe a good program versus a bad program. Maybe you could explain what that means.
Well, what happens sometimes is you have schools with large enrollments. Might have to be a vocational school that really doesn't get that many kids out for athletics, or you might have a school with a large enrollment that is a soccer school, where most of the kids are playing soccer in the fall and not playing football. And a lot of your smaller schools, even though they don't have the numbers, they have quality kids, such as St. Raphael, which is all boys. Even though the enrollment is small, the number of boys that they get there to play is a high percentage. And the same thing with, I think, your suburban schools, such as Westerly, East Green, which is your Lincolns, schools like that have been traditionally strong in football. They have good feeder programs, such as we have here, and football is an important part of the overall educational program in the school, in the high school, and as a result, you have a quality program that's competitive year in and year out.
Okay, maybe we could talk to these young gentlemen a little bit about this. Dino, I know from knowing you around the community and the good job you do with local sports, what do you think the difference at Westerly High is versus other schools that you've either competed against or have gone to watch them play?
Well, as Coach said, we have a good feeder program. I feel that playing a few years and getting to know the basic and the fundamentals of football, then coming up and learning the right way and the more skillful way of playing the game, and having a good coaching staff and so on and so forth, it helps a lot with learning how to play the game correctly.
Well, I just want to point out to our audience out there that Jim did threaten you people about be careful how you talk about the coach, because after this show we have a practice coming up. Paul, maybe you could tell me a little bit about the program. I don't know what position you play or how involved you are.
Well, it's pretty tough. It's if you want to play, you have to be really disciplined. You have to discipline yourself into playing. Sacrifice a lot of things, and you gotta go by the rules, basically.
And what position do you play? Maybe you could each tell me where you play on the field.
Well, I'm offensive guard and linebacker.
He's a new middle linebacker.
This week, this was just established this week?
This coming Saturday will be his third game at middle linebacker, and I anticipate him staying there for the rest of the year. He's doing a real good job for us.
Well, I'm sure that, as I know you very well over the years, you get the most out of most of your players, and if you can work with Dino, you can work with anybody. Bill Keegan, you're kind of quiet over here, kind of the quiet influence on the field, too?
Yeah, I guess so. Not as much leadership as, someone like Paul or Dino, but everybody comes together on the field. That's just what makes it such a winning team.
Okay, and what's your position on the field?
Offensive tight end and defensive linebacker.
Now, you both kind of mentioned, we used to call it in the old days, playing both ways. Do you do this a lot on your team? Sorry, I don't know a little bit more about what you do on Saturdays, but I don't attend most of the football games due to other activities, and Jimmy doesn't want me up there taking notes on his good qualities. But how does this, this must be pretty intense, having to play both ways, remember the plays on both ends. This must be pretty involved.
Well, we have a lot of, part of our program is a lot of conditioning, and a lot of conditioning, and it pays off, but it keeps your mind in the game, both offensively and defensively, and most of us do play special teams as well, but we might get a blow here or there with some younger underclassmen who might come up and can do the job, but you have to maybe wait a couple weeks and find out if they can do the job. We have a lot of underclassmen who are coming through for us, and John Luzzy, for one, he's starting to come through for us, and who knows, he can play a big role for us this year and possibly next year for next year's team.
Okay, Paul, you pointed out, you mentioned that you're an offensive guard.
Mm-hmm.
John Gilman, got to be a big hole in that line to fill. It's got to be a tough job for you guys to come up and do the job and not have that superhuman guy in the middle of things.
Oh, we have people who fill his position. His brother, he's doing a great job.
There's always somebody following you up that can do the job.
It's ironic that you mention that, because you look at John, who was probably he was the best football player in the state of Rhode Island last year as far as we were concerned, and you don't get a kid like John Gilman all the time, but just having him around makes everyone else that much better. And we had some other quality kids that played for us besides John. He'd be the first one to tell you that. But his brother, when he first came in, he was not a good football player. As a matter of fact, he wasn't even in good enough physical condition to do all the drills that we have to have them do. And I'd say right now that Bobby's worked himself to be one of the best offensive linemen that we have on our team. And it's a credit to him. And I don't think at this point he has to take a back seat to his brother as an offensive lineman. Defensively, there's no one that can fill John's shoes. But we do have capable people that are able to go in there and do what we ask of them. And they knew that, and we knew that going into this year. And it just makes everybody else work that much harder to try to get the job done. Instead of one person doing one thing, it's now maybe 5 or 6 guys having to do the same thing.
One of the qualities that has shown up over the last few years about yourself, Jim, and about the players that are involved on the football squad is the fact that they are so disciplined, and they do get the most out of the abilities that they have. And it's probably a credit to you and your coaching staff, but at the same time it's probably a credit to you fellas too, for exactly like you said, Dino, that have the patience to be involved and to not want everything to happen in the first week or the second week, and to go out. And I'm sure you're learning, with the help of Jim, how much you learn in a game situation. People don't realize on a high school level that's a learning experience too, and even if you don't win, you probably learn just as many things. Have you ever run into teams that just outsize you? Do you have that problem?
Every week.
Every single week.
We're used to that. That doesn't even bother us anymore.
How do you overcome this? I mean, what's
Speed, quickness, preparation, conditioning, determination, all these things. There's so many other factors, and as Paul just mentioned, with your head, you speak of discipline. It's easy for us to lay down the rules. Okay, not that we don't have to follow them, because we do as coaches, but still, it's more of a sacrifice on the players' part. And they have to be special individuals in order to follow these rules. But we believe strongly that the more disciplined you are, not necessarily it's going to make you a better football player, but what it's going to do is going to make you better mentally disciplined. It's going to make you better mentally tough. And I think these are the attributes and the characteristics that you need to be successful week in and week out, and to overcome the obstacles such as physical size that we run into quite a bit. And I think the kids are convinced of this, and I think that's why they're willing to make the sacrifices. But the credit is theirs, because again, some of the things we ask them to do sometimes are very difficult, such as going against kids that are twice their size, coming in there at 5:30 in the morning in preseason to practice, asking them to go both ways without a break. These are tough things to ask kids to do, and we ask we ask our kids to do it, and they do it well. They do it as well as anybody.
Well, I remember talking to a good friend of yours, a good friend of mine, Sal Algieri. He always said you had to have the ponies to win the game. You could be a real good coach, but if you don't have those ponies, and obviously by the looks of these gentlemen here and the way you're doing at the school now, you do have a lot of talented athletes up there. Maybe they don't have the size, but they
Most
obviously
definitely. Not only are they talented athletes, but they're talented individuals. They're class people, and it's something that goes that's overlooked. They're intelligent people. You cannot get by anymore with athletes that aren't smart. They're just not able to cope. They're not able to do the things that we ask them to do. And if you're not it's just like being in the classroom. If you're not intelligent enough to comprehend and absorb everything that's being taught to you, you're not going to be successful on Saturday.
Well, this brings up another good point that maybe we could discuss with you gentlemen. What are our plans after school, after Westerly High Bulldogs and the Halls of Ivy and the beach cottages and everything else? where are we having plans for?
College, basically.
Any particular choices?
Still looking around.
Still looking? Dino?
Well, I have a couple decisions to make in a very short time, whether or not to go into business or to something that I would like, sports medicine. I have a decision to make, and to sit down with a very important part of my family, my dad, and I was looking into URI, speaking with Coach earlier in the year, and maybe Northeastern, and there's a couple other ones that have good sports medicine programs. Then there's a number of business schools around the area, so I'm still undecided.
Well, I'd like to see you go into sports medicine, then you can come out and fix my feet. Bill, how about yourself? What are your plans after school?
I definitely want to attend college, but still a lot of decisions to make. I haven't really sat down and thought about where I'd like to go and what I'd like to do yet.
Do you think that the being involved in the football program at Westerly has helped you with the rest of your life, your aspects of your life, other than just on the football field?
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
keeps you off, makes you do the right thing, makes you think.
You discipline yourself in football and in the classroom, and it carries out with everything that you do. And you find yourself doing that, 10 out of 10 times. You do it on the field, if you do it in the classroom, you do it on the field, and you carry it out with everyday routines.
Well, this is a tough guy to get away with anything in the school system too, because he has his eyes all over the place.
And his ears.
Okay, maybe what we could do too, Jim, we could discuss this program, the football program, where you want it to go, what kind of ideas you have for the future, and we even have the light program, which we've been plugging on our show for the last few weeks. Maybe you give us an idea of what you think about that.
Okay. As far as the lights go, I'm very enthusiastic and very happy that we're finally going to get to that point. I think it's going to be a great thing for the community because it'll enable a lot of people that are busy on weekends or Saturdays to come up there on a Friday night and watch a football game. Parents that work in the afternoon and have kids even on a soccer team that play in the afternoon, they can come up now and watch their kids play at night also. And I think just from going to other communities that play night football and watching those games, it's kind of a special event on a Friday. It's something you look forward to all day. I know in the school they have rallies, and that's the talk of the school that day when there's a night game, and it just kind of brings the whole community together. And I think it's something that is a little bit of an incentive for the kids, and I think it'll draw more kids not only to the games but more kids into the program.
Okay, and I'd like to also mention at this time that if anyone would like to help out by donating to the lighting fund, they can donate through Colony 13 here at cable TV, or send their donation to the Westerly High School. We'll be right back after this to discuss a little more about Westerly High School football.
At Westerly Tile and Carpet, we always give the best quality for the best price. We buy direct from the factory, so we can offer low prices on name brands such as Galaxy, Philadelphia, Mannington, Pingolium, and Armstrong. For a complete line of carpet, tile, and vinyl, visit Westerly Tile and Carpet in the Granite Street Shopping Center. Westerly Tile and Carpet. We floor the competition.
Sometimes it's hard to find the words and say just what you're feeling, but deep inside you really want to show you love her, and so for all that she's given you, you can say it with a diamond in her heart. She got a diamond.
De Beers Diamond Rings, available at Westerly Jewelry.
Are you free October 29th and 30th? Nesson is. Let's get together for a two-day Nesson free preview. On Wednesday, October 29th, you'll see exciting Hockey East action when the Northeastern Huskies skate against the BC Eagles. Then on Thursday, Nesson brings you Boston Bruins hockey as the Bees take on the Stanley Cup champion Montreal Canadiens live from Boston Garden. So remember, it's Hockey East, the Bruins, and more on Nesson for free, October 29th and 30th.
On Westerly Cable Channel 13. If you look real close, this is what you might see in downtown Westerly. This video was brought to you by Westerly Cablevision, your local cable TV connection.
Hi, we're back here again with Jim Murano, the coach of Westerly High School football, along with Dino Trombino, Bill Keegan, and Paul Ponte, tri-captains for the Bulldogs. Jimmy, just before the break, we started to discuss the program a little bit. During the break, you mentioned something about a sportsmanship award. I'm sure our audience would like to know about this.
Well, every year the Rhode Island High School Football Coaches Association awards one team throughout the state their sportsmanship award, and it's voted on weekly by the officials that do the games, and at the end of the year all the points are tallied, and the team that comes out with the most points obviously wins the sportsmanship award. And we're very proud. As a matter of fact, probably prouder of that than the fact that we won the championship the last couple of years. The last 2 years we did win the Dick Reynolds Sportsmanship Award. and that's something that I think speaks well for the entire program, the community, the school, and the families that these kids come from.
I think it's a award that was very well deserved. Even though you had Dino on the team, I'm sure you all became that.
Picking on Dino
Yeah,
tonight.
well, I gotta pick on Dino because
get him back.
Bill is going to sleep over here. I'm trying to get him riled up. Maybe you fellas could discuss with me in front of the coach, and if you want, I'll block his ears so he can't hear this. What exactly does the program mean to you? Why are you involved in Westerly High School football? And Dino, we don't want you to talk yet. I will go to Bill first.
It's really important. I think when I first went out for it was just for the love of the sport, but then it got to mean more than that. You know, when you start winning championships and Dick Reynolds awards, that's nice too. But you know, the togetherness, you can't beat the togetherness and the relationships that you get with the coaches. You know, they become special friends and all. And you can't beat the winning and Turkey Day and just all of it together, all builds up. It means a lot.
Paul?
Well, it's like a sense of accomplishment, you know. You go play the game and you get the feedback, you know, from your family and friends, and they're proud of you, and it feels good. And it's like there's no other feeling other than that. You go to high school and I don't think anyone else goes through something with you. You know, you win a Super Bowl and there's nothing like that. There's no other feeling like that. And there's memories that you're gonna keep with you for the rest of your life, and it feels good.
You know, this is your big chance now. If you want, I'll ask Coach Murano to leave the room for a few minutes.
No, I think especially with our program, we have the type of coaching staff we have, and I might get in trouble for this, but we have a different age group where you can turn to one as a brother or one as one for a father on that particular day, or just a friend, and it goes right up and down the line. And it's just like Bill mentioned, and the togetherness and what you get out of it. And as Paul mentioned, we have a tough program, and you earn respect from those people. And if you can go through our program, not only do the team and teammates and the coaches and even the students in the school, they respect you for it.
Well, I'd also like to mention at this time, on your coaching staff, you have some pretty formidable names, and some names that we've had on our show before. Chris Reed, Lance Murphy, Bill the Slammer Samiagio. I hope that probably does a good job for you. We have to plug Slammer because he's one of your hometown favorites here. Vero Marone, Mikey McGuire, and Alvin Ayers. Obviously, you got some pretty talented people helping you.
I mean, they're the core of the entire program. Without those people, we wouldn't have the success that we've had. They just do so much of the actual nuts and bolts coaching that it goes unnoticed at times. I realize, and I know the kids do, but sometimes people in the community just don't know what these people contribute. And it's hours and hours of time on their part away from their families, and they deserve an awful lot of credit.
And I think back when we were figuring out coaching, I'm sure it hasn't changed too much. Comes out to about $1 an hour, doesn't it?
I think up until now, right now I'm working for her, but that's really not important. We don't even, I couldn't even tell you what it comes out to. That's secondary, as I'm sure. Some of the material things that the kids get out of the program are secondary. It's, again, as Paul said, the feeling of making friends, of winning a championship by working together, the satisfaction of accomplishing things, and the respect that you get, I just think is the ultimate reward, and that's what we're looking for. And when we do get that, win or lose the ball game, if we can still get those other things, then I think we've been successful.
Well, Paul mentioned a very important point, the memories. Right now, what you're doing, you'll talk about for your entire life. You'll laugh about it, you'll reminisce about it. You'll look back on this as an important part of your life. I'd also like to point out, maybe this is something to do with your philosophy, but I've noticed the football teams over the last 5 or 6 years have really developed, like you say, a much better attitude. They're not your typical, the things we grew up with about athletes. getting a bad name for the athlete. They give a good look, as the young people would say today, they are looking good.
Yeah.
Type thing, and that's a very impressive quality to be proud of what you're doing and what you're involved in, and yet not cocky about it, as we said in the old days. You know, not going to push it down your throat. We did what we had to do, and we'll take the credit, win, lose, or draw.
When the kids feel this way, when we talk about being a member of the team, what we tell everybody is once you put that shirt on, you're a special person, and there are certain standards you have to uphold, and certain things that not only we expect of you, but people in the community expect of you. And the kids do their best to uphold these standards, and I think that's why they're looked at as special people, and I really believe that they are special people, and they should be given all the credit in the world for this.
Now, another thing that seems to come clearly, and while I'm discussing it with you and talking about football, you seem to coach more with an interaction than the old-fashioned flavor of coaching of thumb on the player, no interaction. You seem to have that attitude.
We're a very close-knit group. We get into each other's minds, and I have to know where they're coming from. They have to know where I'm coming from, and that's very important. I can sense it right away when they're not with me, and I know they sense the days that I'm having an off day. And right away, if we can pick each other up on that, and whatever is bothering us or whatever is causing us a problem, if we can get that settled right away, then I think we're going to get that much more done that day. And that's why the closeness. And as Dino says, if you need one coach to help you with one thing and another coach to help you with something else, you can do it. And also, by the same respect, if I'm having a problem with the team, or there is something that we need to resolve, I can go to these guys as my liaison between the coaching staff and the players, and they're mature enough individuals and intelligent enough people that we can get the whole thing worked out. So we do work quite closely together, and I think that's the only way you can operate.
Okay, another question. Any future coaches here? Anybody thought about that? Anybody thought about volunteering and helping with the younger kids below you, that type of thing?
Things that you think about when you go to bed at night. Something, maybe I'll get into it. I think so. I like, the closest, and I don't know, it's just with family, winning championships and stuff like that.
I'd love to.
Yeah, no problem. I'd get into it.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting in it too.
Well, I'm very happy to have had you fellas on the show tonight. I'd like to invite you back again, because I'm sure we could do a whole hour if we really got into talking about what's involved in your program with the coaching. I'd also like to point out too, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of these coaches volunteer for you.
More than a couple.
More than a couple.
There's 6 of them all together. Chris Reed, Lance Murphy, and Billy Samaggio are on the staff. Vero, Mike, and Alvin donate their time. And all of them donate their time because it's not just from 2:30 in the afternoon until 5:30. There's a lot of Sundays and night games that we have to scout, and a lot of other times that go into it that people just don't see. So yes, they do volunteer, and without those people doing that, you just wouldn't have the type of program that you have.
Well, they are to be commended on an excellent program. It does show in the program that the values that you're passing on to the kids far outweigh whatever the won-loss record is, and vice versa. What they give back to you, I'm sure, rewards you night after night.
Some of the people that we should thank also are the wives of these coaches, because and if you guys are ever going to go into coaching, believe me, number one priority, you must have an understanding wife, and the wives that we have of the coaches are just outstanding people. Without them, those guys wouldn't be there when they are.
I'm sure you could do anything you want as long as
publicly
it's all
I'd
right
like
with
to
your
thank
wife.
them. It's right.
Okay, I'd like to thank you gentlemen for being on the show tonight, and I wish you a lot of success over the year. Jim, I'm sure you'll bring these guys at least close, or I'm sure you'll give them a very successful year. I'd also like to tell our audience out there that we took a consensus of opinion over the break, and they're picking the Red Sox in 4 or 5 games. The Mets don't have a chance. By the time this show's on, we'll know if they were right or wrong. This is Stu French for Backyard Sports. See you next week.